Oh, let's see. All right. Yes, for the wine. Turn water to wine. Look, turn water to wine in my mind.
If only. If only.
If only, for real. Yes, yes, yes. All right, let me go ahead and share this and then I'm going to add you.
Okay.
Hey, 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 everyone. See, Miss Amy. All right, hey, you all. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. And then if you turn your volume down on your phone, then it won't like cross over.
Yep, I just did that.
Awesome.
Is this can you hear it?
Let me see. I don't hear anything right now.
Okay, perfect.
Hey, I hear something now. Yes.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah. It's like a little bit of a delay. But hey, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Did you get it? The notification? Yeah, you did, right? Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. Woo! Now, for those that were on the Teen Talk, you can see I had to go and change. I needed to put on something bright because the conversation we are about to have, you all,
Oh yeah.
you know, it's a little on the dark side for some people. It's not discussed enough. So this will be the first time I'm actually talking about this in a live setting. I'm excited about it though. And I'm excited to have someone that's going to join me and be as transparent as I would. So, you know, if you have your wine, I have water. I'm going to think in my mind that this water is wine. Go ahead and
Yes.
pour you a glass. Make sure you go ahead and tag a friend, tag a queen to come and join in on this conversation because this is definitely something that needs to be discussed more. Okay? Let me get my swig as if I'm really drinking wine, right? Okay. Now, hey, 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 thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I see you all joining. I truly appreciate you. Go ahead and give us a hi, a wave, whatever. Go ahead and share so we can have other queens join as well because this is going to be an amazing conversation. Today's topic is overcoming narcissistic abuse. Ooh. Now do you see why I had to go and put on some yellow? Hello, yellow. So yes, we're discussing overcoming narcissistic abuse. And I have one of my really good friends on here that's going to be transparent with her story, as I'm sure I will share some of mine as well. But before I even go into introducing her, what I want to do is read some things from Psychology Today just to kind of give you a deeper insight into what narcissistic abuse is. Okay? Let me make sure. I see people saying, hey. Hey, y'all! This is from YouTube, amymalkin.com. I'm putting her site as well as her Instagram, and I know you see it on the bottom as well. Make sure you go and follow her. Okay. So, narcissistic abuse. What is narcissistic abuse? I'm going to read it verbatim so it's not something that Keisha made up. Okay? Narcissistic abuse it's the hypernym for the psychological, financial, sexual, and physical abuse by someone with narcissistic traits or someone who's suffering from narcissistic personality disorder. Okay? Thank you, Marissa, for sharing on both of your pages, boo. I appreciate you. Okay. Narcissist truly do not love themselves. A lot of people think that narcissists are in love with themselves, but the truth is they're actually driven by shame. It is an idealized image of themselves that they are in love with. The image in their head that they actually think they are. That's what they're in love with, and that's what convinces them to embody and admire this so much. But it drives them to shame when they do not live up to that specific image in their minds. Okay? So on Psychology Today, it states that narcissists feel the gap between the facade that they show to the world and the shame based on themselves. And to fill this gap, what narcissists do is they use destructive, defensive mechanisms that destroy relationships, cause pain, and damage their loved ones. Just to make sure that I underscore this, narcissistic abuse does not happen just in a relationship with your spouse. Narcissistic abuse carries over to relationships with family members, with friends, maybe in a position that you worked in. It can be anyone. It's not just limited to males. It goes in females as well. And the conversation that we're going to have today, I'm going to actually interview Amy on overcoming narcissistic abuse. She's going to ask me questions as well. But we're having this very transparent conversation because just as both of us were at once in our lives, we did not know that that was the relationship that we were in. So hopefully having this conversation, someone may be watching and they hear all of the things that we're describing and they say, that's it. That's what I'm dealing with. And hopefully us sharing our testimony, sharing our story, giving you deeper insight will allow you to gain the help to get out of that situation and heal from that situation. That's what this conversation is all about. All right. And my guest for today,
take a drink to that.
Take a drink, baby. My guest for today is Miss Amy Malkin. She is an amazing international artist. I know most of you have seen the work she did of Creed and I, which I completely love. She has some painting behind her. I put some on the flyers, as well as I shared her website, so please go and support this artist. She is based in Houston. But Amy, go ahead and share a little bit more about you.
Man, I don't know. I think you did a pretty
good job.
I don't know. I don't want to waste any more time introducing myself. I say let's just
let's dive into it.
You know?
Okay, yeah, look, I'm ready.
I think you did a great intro.
Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. So diving right into this, once again, if you're just joining, because I see some new people joined, hey, go ahead and share this because this is a conversation that will definitely need to be shared with more than just you. Okay. Amy, when did you realize you were in a narcissistic abusive relationship?
So there was it steps to it. I realized I was in an abusive relationship when I started noticing discrepancies in what he was communicating to me and how I was feeling. Like he would say things like, you have daddy issues. And I don't have daddy issues because I have a great relationship with my father. He didn't abuse me physically, sexually. I mean, if at the drop of my hat, if I was to call my dad and be like, hey, literally true story, driving at 3:00 in the morning, I didn't pay attention and I ran into the bumper, into the road, and now my car is wrecked and I need you to come get me. And he'd be like, oh my God, I told you to drive carefully. Okay, I'm coming. Yeah. He'd give me a mouthful, but he would still come. I remember I wrecked my car on the way to college, and they drove 3 hours to make sure I was okay. So, I mean, little things like that, he would start saying things, and I'm like, this is not right. And I would communicate with you, Keisha. I would communicate with some other friends. And y'all would plant seeds in my head saying, this is abusive. I don't know. I don't remember the conversations back then. Maybe you remember, Keisha, if you use the word of narcissist. I don't remember, but I do remember you saying this is not right and he's abusing you.
Mm.
And that's when I started having my aha moment. Um, his ex-wife had used the word narcissist around, but I didn't really understand the meaning of what that was. Just one second. Okay. I have a dog and a 2-year-old, so I may
Yeah.
have to interrupt sometimes, you guys. So,
And listen, I'm a single mom, and some of us on here, we have to do this. So
y'all
we
know.
got it. Go ahead.
So I think that I fully understood I was in a narcissistic, abusive relationship when I was ready to exit. And I started doing research what narcissistic abuse looked like.
Yeah.
So that was when I was on my way out.
Yeah.
But talking to women, talking to some of my friends, some stuck around like Keisha, who were like, you know what, I understand what she's going through and she's not making sense, but I was at this place
Right.
once upon a time, so I have to be patient with this person coming into being woke around what's happening in her reality.
Yeah.
And then I lost some friends who were like, I really can't deal with Amy. Like, she keeps going back and forth, and she's 1 minute she's strong, 1 minute she's weak. And, I lost some friends through it all, but it's part of the process.
It's part of the process. And just to make sure I make this clear for a lot of people, abuse comes in so many different forms. Like, it's
Right.
not just about physical or emotional. I mean, it's so much more. And I just want to give a little bit of that. So abuse may be emotional, it may be mental, it may be physical. Hey, Zinny Poo.
We're talking. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, now go bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. It may be emotional,
Bye-bye.
it may be physical, it may be financial, it may be spiritual, it may be sexual, it may be the types of abuse may be verbal, manipulation, emotional, gaslighting, competition, person who always trying to compete with you when y'all not on the same level, negative, contrasting, sabotaging, isolation, privacy invasion, neglect, exploitation, objectification, withholding. And that's just a piece of what abuse looks like. The different types of abuse. There's so much more. And Amy, you had said, you didn't know if I said the word narcissist to you or not, but I didn't. What I did tell you was he's abusing you, because I knew what abuse looked like. Mm-hmm. Now, I was learning what narcissistic abuse was during that time frame that I told you. And honestly, I became open to what a narcissistic abuser was actually at my very first Teen Kick retreat.
Oh, wow.
My very first Teen Kick retreat, JJ, who will be on here a couple weeks later. But JJ on the mic, you all may know her. She's been in radio for forever. She's a celebrity MC from everywhere. But she came and spoke to the girls, and she was talking about the signs of narcissistic abuse. And when she was doing that workshop, I was like, oh my gosh, that is it. Mm-hmm. That is it. And then I attended one of her events, and her events was about helping women overcome that type of abuse. So
it's really
through
subtle.
That's what it's very
abuse is really subtle. So when you I don't know, like, maybe you've shared your stories. You are in an abusive relationship, Carly, and you share your stories. And then, these women would be like, oh, I would never allow that to happen with me. I'm too strong for that. I'm too good for that, blah, blah, blah. But what they don't realize is all the grooming that happened prior to the abuse. And then all the psychological manipulation and all this illusion that happened to the point where you start accepting the abuse because you feel like you're the blame for it happening. See, they don't realize all of that.
Yeah.
But what you also have to do is just be a little bit more kinder. And that's what I had to learn, was to be more kinder and compassionate during that entire process of realizing, wow, I was in an abusive relationship. And it's okay. And now, what are my takeaways, and how do I navigate through that from that?
Yeah.
But that abuse, it wasn't. What I learned was that what you just stated was 7 different types of abuse.
Yeah.
The two main ones is what we recognize in society, which is physical and sexual.
Yeah.
We don't recognize the
Yeah.
mental, psychological, emotional, financial, discard, all of those
Yeah.
abuse, which was what I was experiencing, all of the above minus the sexual and physical abuse. He never hit
Yeah.
me. He never was like, hey, you dumb B
Yeah.
word, blah, 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 blah. He never was verbally abusive. It was very like passive aggressive, like, yeah, I know I gave you this commission because I want to support your dreams and, make sure you make it as a big artist, but I didn't really like the design. It wasn't really great
Yeah.
aesthetics, And then I'm like, well, then why did you give it to me? Oh, well, I'm supporting your dreams. Like, I want to show I'm supportive. Like, it's like, it was like one or the other. So in the same breath, he was making me doubt my skills as an artist, but then he was also making me feel like he was giving me these opportunities that I wouldn't be blessed with if it wasn't for
Otherwise.
him. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm so happy you brought that up, Amy, because, you know, you truly do not know. You truly do not know what it looks like until you've actually experienced it. You
Mm-hmm.
truly do not know. And you have to be so careful what you pray for. I've said this before. I still remember the exact day in October a few years back when I asked God, I was like, God, help me, because I had no sympathy for women who stayed in abusive relationships. I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't know why they just can't leave. Just leave.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the person I was until I was in that relationship. And the truth
So
is,
then would you agree that you don't have to be weak?
you don't,
A
it has
strong
nothing
woman
to do with
who
being
has
weak.
money, who has her career together, can
Nothing to do
easily
with weak.
be caught up in an abusive
And here's the
relationship.
thing to that though. Statistics show narcissists, they look for women who are
Mm-hmm.
successful. They look
Mm-hmm.
for those women that fit the mold of what they want to be.
Correct.
They want, okay, I have her and I'm able to do this with her, you know, because it's about a benefit to them. So they're not
Right.
looking for someone that's weak minded. They're not looking for someone that's going to be, you know, yes, sir, to everything. They think that their whole thing, the challenge for them is I'm gonna break her. I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna make
Right.
her this way that
It's
I
not
want her.
about chase because there are men who like to chase.
There
That's
are.
on a whole new level. They're
Oh
actually
yeah.
seeking out people that they want to be a mere reflection. It's a mere reflection of who they think they are, not
Yeah.
who they really are, but who they think they are. And it's a mere reflection of what they want. It's actually a jealousy and insecure thing. It's like, ooh, Keisha, she has all these things. I want that.
Yes. Yes. And
That's what
that's
it is.
exactly the reason why I ended up in the relationship I did.
Right.
Before I state
Same.
something to that, let me just look at these comments because there's plenty. Okay, I went through that. It's horrible. And yes, they trick you into it. They ease you in it and they ease you out. You're absolutely correct, JL. Thank you so much for putting that. Marissa says, absolutely, because we stay for fear of embarrassment, which is
Yeah.
almost as strong as fear. You better say a word, girl. Let me tell you, that is so true. That is so true. I still remember the day when I got the first red flag, but I was at a point where I was like, well, I can't just leave. I mean, what are they going to say? I didn't
Yeah.
want them, whoever them was, to be
Right.
right. You know?
Right.
So I downplayed myself and my feelings and what I knew was wrong. You know what I'm saying? And that part right there, the fear of embarrassment, it is absolutely true. Absolutely true. I'm so happy you put that. There was something else you had said that I said I was going to come back to, but we're talking so much. But you know, we were talking about like him wanting you to be that person, right?
Yeah.
And it's so true. I remember when we were in premarital counseling, and the pastor asked one question to both of us, and that question was, "Why do you want to get married?"
Mm.
His response was the red flag, and I completely ignored it. His response was, I've never been with no one like her. You know, she's gonna build my business. You know, she's been around the world. She's done a lot of stuff. You know, and she don't have no kids, and you know, like all the stuff that she's able to do because she's really smart. And I see how she's done things with her book and her businesses. I know she gonna build mine. Absolutely nothing to do with love.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No. Nothing.
What the hell did I say I do for? Okay.
because we are been fed what society has fed us what love looks like, which is actually harmful love. It's like dependency love, codependency love. So to add on to that, I got pregnant. We were kind of rocky, and I honestly, to be honest, I wanted to abort the pregnancy because I that wasn't planned. We weren't married. We were in a not in a really solid space, and I was like,
Yes.
this is not the right time. And he was really adamant about keeping the baby.
Yes.
Only did and so in my head I'm like, wow, a man wants to keep the baby is usually the
Oh
other
my
way
God.
around, where the woman wants to
Same
keep it and the
thing.
man wants to get
Yes.
rid of the baby. And I realize now, looking back and doing
What
research
it
on
was.
narcissistic abuse, they really want their abused person to have a baby because it's a way to lock
Control.
them down.
Yes.
It's to control.
It's the control.
And I remember we had to get our marriage license 3 separate times because I wasn't willing to sign, and your marriage license expires after 90 days.
Yeah.
So every 90 days he would get 111, and I just would not sign it because my intuition was telling me don't sign it. But back then I was thinking what love looked like was like, wow, he really wants me. But what it really was is that he really wanted to control and abuse me.
Yeah.
But this happens. The hindsight is 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I'm so happy you said that, because I remember when I got pregnant. I mean, it was so much guilt trip. He was, and how I needed to have a baby. It was a need. How dare you not want to have my child?
Right.
I'm like, but
Right.
if you're this horrible to me,
Right.
those were my thoughts. And
Right.
the guilt trip, the crying, the whole, all of the shenanigans to get
Hmm.
you to say yes, okay, I'll continue, kind of thing.
What
And the
narcissists
truth,
do is that. Sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. And I said, and the truth is, I do not regret my son. My son is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, of
You know,
course. Yeah.
he ain't the problem
No.
whatsoever.
No.
So I want to make sure that I underscore that just for people that are watching. Go ahead, Amy.
I would like to underscore that as well.
Yeah.
That I love my son, and I'm glad I did not have an abortion. But I'm speaking about these moments that happened, at that time, real time. What I wanted to mention is that what narcissists do is they play into the illusion of fear and scarcity. So they
Yes.
make you, if you, and this is what society does, right? They say things like, you can't sleep if you're an entrepreneur. Someone's going to out hustle you. You got to hustle,
Foolishness.
hustle, hustle. It's
Foolishness.
like, which is, oh yeah, it's not true. What's meant for you is meant for you. That's abundance mindset thinking. Rest is working. That's important to rest. So all of that to say, what narcissists do is that they make you feel like no one else is going to be able to give you what they give you. No one is going to love you the way they would love you. No one is going to be the way they would be with you. All of these things. And if you get sucked into it, you will feel that fear and that scarcity, and you'll make decisions accordingly.
Right.
So it's also having the power to discern for yourself, is this decision made out of fear, or is this decision made out of like abundance?
Right.
And that will also help you navigate in which route to take.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Listen, y'all know we are moms, so we can multitask. So I can listen to Creed trying to find whatever you need on his tablet while I'm paying attention. You are absolutely correct about that. And that's a big thing. Working out of fear versus working out of abundance. Which one are you going to do? There's no in between. You have to choose. And that's their motto.
And I want to preface this, Keisha, like we weren't thinking like this when we were in a relationship. So don't compare yourself if you are in one right now. We just want to help you prevent the road that we went down so that you don't have to repeat the experiences. It's not a mistake. The experiences that we went through. And so take it with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, you have to listen to your own intuition, your own heart, and do your own prayers and whatever, your own spiritual work, groundedness, in order to figure out the answers for yourself. But I think what we're doing, Keisha, is just sharing our experiences, our learning moments, our stories, so that if you resonate with it, it's a glimmer of hope, and to be able to relate and to be able to know you'll be okay.
Yeah,
there's light at the
and I appreciate you saying that, because the truth is, like, just when you were in it, just when I was in it, you don't see it at the moment sometimes.
Right.
You may get like bits and pieces, but you don't see the full picture of this is what's happening to me, you know, and
Right.
I don't want anyone to feel that they're less than simply because you're going through it.
Not at all.
We're
Not at all.
examples that you can come out. And a lot of women on here that I see that are posting, they're examples that you can come out. JL said, this is some good stuff. I would have sworn y'all were flies on the wall about 10 years ago. Woo! Yes! It is.
Yes, let me tell
It
you,
is.
speaking on that,
Mm-hmm.
narcissists are textbook.
Oh,
I
yeah.
kid you not, like the tricks that they do, they've
Same.
been around for
Hundreds of years.
thousands of years. They
And
don't come up with anything brand
nothing
new. It's
new.
a different name, different scenario, different city, different location, but the shit they be doing is the exact same thing.
Yes,
Literally,
yes.
every story.
And I remember, like, Amy would share something with me. I was like, girl, this is the exact, let me tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Because I went through, you know, the same situation. Because they all use the exact same stuff. Don't matter, just different person.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So with that being said, let's go to the next question. What were some of the red flags or the signs that you ignored during?
I think the major one was what happened?
Poo-poo.
You need to make poo-poo?
Pee-pee.
You need to make pee-pee?
Poo-poo.
Okay, he's playing with me.
Poo-poo.
He knows now that that's how to get my attention. If he wants me to get up out of my seat, he just
So you can go do whatever? Yeah.
You know I'm not going to take a chance because I'm not about to pick up some poop off the floor. I already have to pick up my dog's poop. You need to make pee-pee or poo-poo?
Poo-poo.
All right, let's go. We got to move this camera along, yo.
Listen, y'all go with the flow.
I'm
Okay.
not taking a chance. Come on, let's go to the bathroom. Do you need to make poop? Okay. So the red flags that I saw, the first one was his ex-wife telling me that he was a narcissistic abuser, but I ignored that. When I met her, she told me of all the dirty, abusive things that he had did to her.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't really understand. I just took it with a grain of salt, right? Sorry, guys.
That's
okay, baby. So she told me literally every dirty thing he did to her. I went back to him and asked him of every single scenario, like what happened here, what happened here, and that was, now hindsight being 2020, that was the wrong move, because what narcissists are, they're con artists. They know how to manipulate. They are PR agents, okay?
Come on.
They know how to manipulate and rewrite a story that makes them look good. So I honestly believed his reasoning for all of those scenarios. It was a good at least 10 scenarios that I needed him to like clarify what happened between him and his wife. And I was like, okay, well, I get that. That was like the beginning signs of it. And then I really started noticing his signs, and it was blatant and obvious after I got pregnant, because by then he already captured this butterfly and put it in a box.
Yeah.
So the discard process was starting to happen. That's when my calls were a little bit more frequent to like you, Keisha, and to a few other people, where I'm like, this is not all making sense. I also want to add that FYI, if you were deciding to leave your abuser and you didn't leave, it's okay. On average, it takes 7 tries to leave your abuser. Keisha knows personally from my story that I tried leaving. I remember she had asked JJ for help to get me an apartment, and then I declined. I think maybe you experienced maybe 3 or 4 of my attempts to leave before I actually made the move. Yep. So don't beat yourself up about being wishy-washy. It's a mind fuck, you know, at the end of the day, you know?
And you know, it's so interesting. I'm so happy you shared that part, because I recall those times. It was about 3 or 4 times. And each time there was a part of me, I was like, you know, God, I just want her to get it. I want her to go, you know. But then because I had been through it. I had been through the manipulation, because they're master manipulators. I had been through me leaving and then returning. You know, me leaving and then returning. Me leaving and then returning. So I knew the struggle. So the struggle, it wasn't about shaming her. It wasn't about, you know, talking about, you know, how horrible she was to stay, or you need to get it together. It was about, how can I pray for you? What can I do for you in this moment? Whatever that is, even if it's just a year to listen, let me be that. And I would say, do you want me to say anything or do you want me to listen? It's so important to ask that question because sometimes when you're in it, you're not ready to hear. You know?
True.
You're not ready to
receive it.
You have to be ready to receive it.
Right.
And, you know, if you don't actually ask that question, it can be damaging to your relationship with that person, and you don't want that, you know. So I wanted to make sure I shared that. Yes, yes.
Keisha and I, we've gone through our own kind of clarification with our own communication with each other during these like very sensitive moments.
Yeah.
Where I am saying, yes, I want to hear what you have to say, and you're telling me something.
We really don't.
You know, and I'm like, I don't really like that. Like, I feel like you're judging me and blah, blah. But if you have a true friend, you should be able to discuss these things and be really forthright and honest and not let it break a friendship.
Break it.
Because
yes.
That's what friends are for, right? We have to be honest and truthful with each other with our own truths. You may not like to hear each other, but as long as you can clarify it, the context and everything, then you can get through it. Yeah. The other thing I want to add is that I also realized, you're finished? Okay. Yes, come on, let's get up and flush the toilet.
For those that are just joining, because I saw some people just join, we're single moms. You got to do what you have to do. So her son had to go make poopy, so that's what she went to do. So y'all just continue to give us grace.
It's also realizing that you need different friends for different things. You know, Keisha, I realized that Keisha for me was someone who's going to give it to me straight up. Like I'm about to drink bourbon whiskey straight up. So if I want to drink bourbon and whiskey straight up, then I hit up Keisha. Okay? If I want a little... What, baby? No what? Okay, I'm putting here. Nobody's watching you. Nobody can see you, baby. He's very private about...
Yes, good, Zinnie Poo. You don't show nobody else stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so
she said so bourbon and whiskey straight up.
Spritzer, you know, I need to do half, you know, carbonated water with some wine. You know, I needed to dilute it, a little bit of soft, you know, easy to drink. Then I knew I needed to call my friend Stephanie.
Yeah.
You know, would be a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more loving and gentle with me and nurturing. And so I also had to discern for myself what I needed in
the moment,
whatever moment I was in during this abusive relationship. You cannot expect your friend to give you something that they don't have the ability to give,
right?
Or they choose not to give, whatever the word is. You
know? Or they may not even know. And I mean, honestly, and when you know yourself, you know, that's a whole nother thing. Because I think I've always been honest with Amy. Like, I'll be like, okay, this is who I am, you know, but I will tell you the one thing that I don't want to ever hurt you. And if I do, I need you to be honest with me and let me know. I can't change something that I don't know, you know?
Right.
And so that's something that I'm like that across the board. Oh, hey, Gina, thank you for joining. But, you know, you want to make sure that, you know, just be honest, know who you are, and then being able to communicate that, but be willing to change where necessary because change is inevitable. You know, so there are things that I've had to learn how to soften the way that I speak in certain situations. I'm okay with that. And when somebody tell me that I've hurt their feelings, I'm not like, well, I wasn't trying to, you know, I'd be like, I'm sorry to hear that, you know.
Yeah.
Can you explain? And a lot of times I'll be like, why didn't you tell me in the moment? Like, you know, but, you know, neither here or there. I think it's really great. Let me read some comments while you clean him. Oh, thank you, Ricky, for joining. Ricky says, amazing stories and opportunities for healing and growth. Thank you all for your strengths. Oh, I appreciate you. And actually, I hope he's okay with me saying this. This is one of my really good friends. But, I mean, he's a male, and he dealt with narcissistic abuse. Like I tell you, it's on both sides. It's not one or the other, you know? But so, anywho, let's go back to Amy. All right, Amy. So, let's see. The next question I have for you is, which you kind of shared. The question is, was it easy to get out, and what was the turning point? Like, when was that moment where you were like, okay, enough is enough, and I'm done, and there is no going back? When was that?
I mean, it took me, probably over a year to actually leave. I knew I wanted to leave him after I got pregnant. Probably I was like 3-4 months into, no, I probably 6-7 months into my pregnancy. I'm going to just shout so you can hear me, but
Yeah.
I won't be to the camera.
Go ahead.
And I realized that I wanted to leave, so I was trying to make an exit plan to leave him. I was like, let me collect.
Thank you.
I was like, let me collect some dough, because I was also financially abused by this guy.
Yeah.
We're both artists, and he basically promised me a career in public art. And so what he was doing, he's been in the business for 20 plus years. He was subcontracting me for a lot of his projects. Mm-hmm. So my business was thriving off of one contractor, essentially. Yeah. And so I was like, holy cow, if I leave him, where am I going to find money to provide for myself?
Yeah.
That was one. I was getting financially abused. What they also do is that they isolate you from your friends and family.
Yeah.
They
isolation
turn you against them.
Huge. Yes.
And so mine what worked out in his favor was that I'm Indian. So for me to be with a black man was already frowned upon with my family and my culture. In society. And then on top of that, having a baby and out of wedlock, we weren't married. I mean, I broke so many rules. My dad disowned me. So we didn't talk for almost 2 years. I had a relationship with my mom, but my mom, out of respect to my dad, had to do it, secretly with myself. Yeah. So I didn't even have family support when I made the decision that I wanted to leave this man. Yeah. So I was a little bit hesitant. I just kind of laid low and kept quiet. I was also getting sexually abused by him, but in this way, not that he was forcing himself upon me, but I wanted to have sex and he would deny me.
Denying, that's a part.
That's part of the abuse. He would make me feel that I was ugly or I was fat, and he wouldn't say those things, but he wouldn't touch me. He wouldn't be like how someone who is in love or romantic towards you, he wouldn't act like that towards me and make it feel as if there was something wrong with me.
Yes.
What, baby?
Yes.
Okay. So, these were things that were happening where I had to, so I was devising a plan essentially of, okay, how can I leave this man? And then the moment that what happened that made me actually leave him, I was breastfeeding my son, and he wanted some assistance or something. And I refused to help him. It was like 7:30 in the morning. I was tired. I never get to rest in. It's like on a Saturday morning, and he was upset, livid that I didn't follow his orders or instructions. So he kicked me out of the house. Mind you, I was naked and I was breastfeeding Zen. And I was like, you know what? This is not okay. I literally my spirit lifted out of my body and was like,
you were watching. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why? You're naked.
Yeah.
And the neighbors can see you. And you're breastfeeding your son. And he's crying. And he's upset because he feels this energy. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You preach about abundance, then be about it.
Yes.
You need to leave. You're going to be okay. You're favored. You're blessed. You've been knowing this since you're 5 years old to comprehend this. You are on a spiritual path. Why are you still allowing this man to abuse you? And is this what you want your son to turn into?
Yeah.
You don't want your son to be this man? Because that's a learned behavior.
Yeah.
This is the time. You need to get out now. You're going to be taken care of. So I did. That's when I left. My dad didn't let me back at the house. The 3 people who said that they were going to be there for me and let me come to their place were nowhere around. I don't take it personally. I'm actually still friends with one of them. I had to realize that they're going through their own stuff. It was during Christmas time also. And I don't know, God just literally put a message in my head and was like, call Stephanie. Call Stephanie.
Yeah.
I'm like, I ain't talked to her in over a year. Really? And I called her up. I'm like, Stephanie, and I told her what happened, and she didn't let me even finish my story. She's like, girl, get your ass over here right now.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
And I literally, and she was I tell her this all the time. She was my angel on earth, because I literally, what happens when abused person replays what's happening and they talk about it over and over, the reason that they're doing that is because they're trying to piece the reality together. They're trying to understand what just happened because it blew up and it shared into different pieces and they're like puzzling it back together. That's why they talk about it over and over and over again. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
So yeah, she let me really talk about the same scenarios over and over and over again. Never once made me feel bad. She's like, do we got to talk about this again, Amy? We already talked about this.
Yeah.
Like, get over it. Like, move on. She was just there for what I needed. But yeah,
that was like what you needed in the moment. And to hear that was your aha moment, it's interesting how, typically the aha moments are the same. Like for me, I have a son, and it was when I was pregnant. I knew I was pregnant like 2 weeks after it happened. I mean, because first of all, we weren't together for months. Then we're together. I mean, duh. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind of knew, I felt it in that moment. But I remember so distinctly, I knew I was going to go and have a test. My birthday sometimes falls on Thanksgiving. Sometimes it doesn't. It's November 25th. And I was having my test that Monday before my birthday. My birthday was going to be on that Wednesday. And then Thanksgiving was on Thursday. And that's when I was going to the doctor. And so I was like, I had already told myself, once it's confirmed, I'm not going back. Because I refuse to allow my son to be raised in an environment where he thinks that's okay.
Yeah.
Or he's raised in that environment that may cause rage, anger. He starts to mimic what he sees. Or he becomes so angered by it that he then wants to step out of the child role into an adult role to try to protect his mom. None of those situations were going to happen. It was not on my watch. I refused. And I said, no, this is what's not going to happen. And I didn't know I was having a boy. My point was, regardless of what I was having, they were not going to be a part of that. What happened, Preeti?
Yeah, I think that, it's some of the resistance in leaving, especially for a female that's being abused by a male and is having a baby, is that they feel like it's better to be in a 2-parent household because that's what society tells you than to be a single parent.
Yeah.
But I realized fast that I would do more damage to my son by staying in an abusive relationship versus me being a single parent and getting the training and the proper morals and ethics instilled in him as a single mother. And there are plenty of examples we have in this world of amazing human beings that have been raised by single mothers. And like, for one, I don't want to get political, but Kamala Harris is a one of person that was raised by a single mom. So I mean,
just saying.
There's so many examples of that.
Yeah. And Amy, I remember the moment I was crying. I was actually talking with my brother. And listen, my edges, y'all, look, excuse it. Okay. But I was talking with my brother, and it was the moment I found out I was having a son. I didn't want to have a son, not because, I didn't feel like I could have one or something. It was more so because I knew if I had a girl, my ex would leave me alone, because he was very clear about that. He was very clear, if it's a girl, it's yours. He didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Wow.
He has a daughter. But if it was a boy, I knew the struggle was going to be more. And I was tired of the struggle with him. I didn't want to fight anymore. I didn't want the friction. I did not want any parts of that at all. And that's the biggest concern that I had. And so I remember when I found out it was a boy, and I was extremely saddened by it. And I was talking to my brother, and he was so excited. And he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, how am I going to raise a man? Because a boy, he needs his father. He needs a father figure. He needs the male that's going to show him what to do as a boy. Right? And he said to me, LeBron James. And I was like, what does that got to do with this? And he started talking about how LeBron James was raised by a single mom, which I didn't know. I don't pay attention to all of that. And he was just talking about, like, look at him, look how great he's doing, not just about being in basketball, but he's even better off the court.
Right.
Like his philanthropic endeavors are beyond, a lot of superstar athletes. And that's the part that I just adore about him. But, he was speaking about that, and he was just telling me, he said it stems from how he was raised. He gives his mother all of the credit. He talks about how she was at his games and what she did and the sacrifices she made. And he was like, and he's a great human being.
Mommy.
He said, and he told me, he said, God knew that you could do it.
Yeah.
And like, I get emotional right now because I doubt myself every day when it comes to parenting. It's okay. You can get it.
Just
but,
being one of your closest friends, Keisha, I admire your parenting.
Yeah.
And also, because we parent similar, so if I'm dissing your parenting, then I'm low-key dissing my parenting. But I think your parenting is great, and the proof is in the pudding, right? Creed is an amazing boy. That's the proof in the pudding. So, and what I've learned too, because I do the same thing, Keisha, is that I then say it doesn't serve me or my son to doubt my parenting skills. Like, I'm trying the best that I can. I'm also human. I have my own needs, my own wants and desires. I have my own moments, and I just have to be patient with myself. There's like so many rules and restrictions around that.
Yeah.
That you easily get bogged down. But that's a whole other topic.
Whole nother topic. So now that we've talked about a lot of the heavy, which I'm, trying to hold back my tears, let's talk about the overcoming part. Okay? So
Hey, Zenny, don't hit me, please. Yes, Zen.
So let's talk about the overcoming part. What were some of the things you needed in order to heal?
What are some things that I needed to heal?
Yeah.
Just one moment.
Yeah, no worries. Creedy.
Hey, Zen.
Stop with the ball.
What's wrong? It's okay. What are some things that I need to heal? I think I alluded to that with having different friends that were able to give me certain support. An ear to talk to, love, hug, validation, therapy. I go to therapy every week.
Therapy is a needed thing, you all. I don't know why people feel like they can't go to therapy.
I think that a misconception thinking that therapy means that there's something wrong with you, or that you're broken, or that you're sick,
you need
or
to
that
be
you're
fixed.
crazy, or whatever. Yeah, we need to fix something. And it's like, well, you take your car to go get an oil change, to go get it serviced. Is there something wrong with your car? Not at all.
Come on.
So, if you have to go get your car maintained so that it can run efficiently, I have to go get my mind maintained so that I can run efficiently.
I love that. You have to go get your car maintained so it can run efficiently. I got to go get my mind maintained. Yes! Put that on the shirt. Yes. Yes.
And so therapy was a big part of my healing. I did like 3 months solitude where I hold myself up. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't do anything. I really wasn't much on social media. My business does run off of social media, so I had to do some posting for my business. But other than that, I just kept to myself because I didn't want any outside noise or energy influencing my thought process. And so I just did what I needed to do, which was to be laid back, low key. If I needed to sleep all day, if I needed to be in my emotions all day, if I need to watch TV, but whatever I needed to do for those 3 months, I did it. And it was one of the best things I could have done for myself in the healing process. And that's a luxury to be able to do that. And the reason I say that is because from the process of me leaving him, then being homeless for almost 2 weeks, and then living with Stephanie, I finally was able to move back home. But then I was also moved from one abusive relationship to another abusive relationship with my family. I now disrupted their life by bringing home a 1-year-old kid. They lived a very quiet lifestyle. Yeah. So now I brought a 1-year-old kid that makes a lot of noise, that takes up a lot of room, has a lot of stuff. And my dad basically told me that I could move under the predication that I was going to move out in 6 months. So I signed on to that deal and said I would move out in 6 months. I ended up moving out in 7 months. So the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, in order for you to be successful, you have to make sure that your shelter and your food is taken care of. Shelter, food, and clothing. So at that time, my food and my clothing was taken care of, but shelter not really, because I was living in someone else's house, i.e. my parents' house.
Yeah.
So then when I moved into my own space in 2019, of August of 2019, I started my solitude at the end of that month for 3 months. That's when I was able to do it, because I was now in my own space. Everything was kind of all my P's and Q's were taken care of. Yes,
Yeah.
baby. And that's when I was able to do my solitude. So that was also part of my healing journey. And it takes moment. Like, healing doesn't begin right away. It's a learning curve. It's ebbs and flows. Yes, baby. Thanks for my kissy.
Yeah.
And I think people think it looks a certain type of way.
It
It's like
doesn't.
a eat, pray,
It's
love
different.
moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit you.
Yeah.
My healing journey didn't start until like almost a year later.
Yeah.
So.
And that's so true. I mean, it same here. It's very different. Because what most people know about my story, they've seen how I was affected by Hurricane Harvey. We were rescued by boat out of my grandmother's home. 4 months prior to that, my grandmother passed away. Then 2 months after my grandmother passed away, I had my son. And then 2 months after that, I had Hurricane Harvey and became displaced. And in the midst of all of that, I was still dealing with this other thing. I had already, filed for divorce and said I was done and, please leave me alone, go live your life, let me live mine, kind of thing. But that was easier said than done, because the abuse continued, or tried to continue, and there were more levels to what I had to deal with now that I chose to separate myself fully from this person, and I have a newborn by this person. So that was a whole nother situation. So I completely get it. The healing for me, I mean, honestly, didn't start until last year, because I was living from place to place due to me being, displaced. We're not going in the kitchen right now. You have to wait till I'm finished, okay?
I just want to add, I'm getting comments here. I didn't realize this.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So
yeah.
This lady said, JL Mary Moody said.
Oh, yes. I saw those. Mm-hmm.
You saw this one? I know a male.
Wait. No. I missed it.
I know a male right now dealing with it. It's hard for me to listen, because after listen, I want to tell him to block her and run. I keep remembering how hard it was for me, so I'm trying to get better at just listening. And out of respect, JL, like, everyone has their own boundaries, so don't feel bad if you can't listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's also the other part of it. You could be really nice about it and say, hey, I understand what you're going through. I've experienced this, but it's really hard for me to be supportive in this way, but I can be supportive in this way for you.
Yes.
You have a right to establish your own boundaries as well in that process on the other end, because you don't have to, if someone is getting abused and they're coming to you for whatever type of support and you're not able to give, you have a right to say no too.
Yeah. Yeah. And that doesn't mean you're being rude.
No,
it doesn't mean you're being rude.
Boundaries,
I'm so happy.
Boundaries is one of the things that you need to establish during this whole process. But I'll let you get to your.
Yeah, I don't even know. It don't matter. But I'm happy you said that. And I know we've been talking about this for a long time. People are seeming like they're loving it. So let me do. We have just a couple more questions, and then we'll be done. And you all continue to post. I love it. And if you have a question for Amy or myself, you can go ahead and post that as well in reference to overcoming narcissistic abuse. So, Amy.
Yes.
What advice would you give to that queen that's watching right now, and she's hearing the things that we're speaking about, and she's saying, you know what? Yeah, that's it. That's what I've dealt with. What advice would you give her? That's currently realizing that this is the relationship that she's in, an abusive one.
Yeah, nothing is like set in stone. Nothing is like cookie cutter. Every case is different. It's case by case. Find a therapist, who specializes in abuse, so they can give you the proper advice. Find a nonprofit that also specializes in this, that can get you the resources that you need in your specific area, city, state, that can help you escape successfully. A lot of domestic abusive relationships end in murder when they try to escape prematurely.
Yeah.
So you need to be careful. Like thankfully I knew my abuser was not physically or sexually abusive in that way. So it was never in the back of my head that he was going to hurt me or my son. So I knew how I could leave, but that may not be the case in your situation. So you have to do it smart. You have to be strategic about it. You have to have certain things lined up. So there are hotlines out there, national hotlines, local hotlines. And then there's code words like, hey, I want to order a pizza. There's so many out there. So figure out what is there for you available, because it may not feel like there's any way out, but let me tell you, there is a way out. There's always a way out. It may seem impossible, but it's a way out. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep having hope. You deserve better. That's it.
Yes, I love that. I love that. I love that. And before you give your quote or scripture that helped you overcome this type of abuse, I always give my guests the opportunity to ask me a question. Do you have a question you would like to ask me?
Yeah, so for me, through therapy, I realized there was a parallel in the reason why I chose my abuser to make him as like my significant other. Did you realize if there was a parallel in your childhood as to why you chose your abuser?
I know the reason why I chose my abuser, and it had a lot to do with my childhood as well as my adulthood. What most people know me for is I'm the queen of fixing things. I'm a coach. I will coach you out of whatever situation you are in. I want to help you succeed. I want to see you, become the very best version of
Uh-oh. Get out of there.
I want
Uh-oh.
to, those are things that I desire, and I desire for everyone. And I'm even more so like that for those that they consider the underdog. So for me, he was the underdog. He was the one, from what he shared with me, didn't have the opportunity to do certain things to be successful as an adult, to see these things happen for himself that he always desired due to whatever he said the reasons were. So I was his life coach. That's why I chose him. I chose him, because the one thing that connected us, because I denied him multiple times. I was like, listen, bruh, we are on different, we are on different, plans. You keep talking about this circle. I done told you already that we are on different paths. I'm moving to Spain. You drive. I'm not. He works locally, and so I was like, we're just not on the same playing field. I said it over and over and over. And he was consistent with coming back and doing the chase. And the thing that got me to actually give him my number, it had nothing to do with him. Mm-hmm. He told me that he wanted my help in repairing his relationship with his daughter.
Oh, wow.
He cried. He told me about why their relationship, well, I don't know if it's true or not, but he told me about why it fell apart when she went to college and how much he missed her, and that he really wanted to repair that, and he didn't know how. And he had saw what I was doing with the community, because I had spoke that day at an event, and he was like, and I see the power that you have with these children, with these teens, and if you could help me, because all I want is that relationship. That's what he told me. And it
was under false pretense.
It was under false pretense. That's what he shared with me. And that's why I gave him my number. And that's why we connected. And every time that I would bring her up, because I was like, okay, so when are we going to talk to her? And I was trying to do what I do. It never happened. In the midst of our marriage, I never met her, never spoke to her, ever. I know her. I know of her through other people, but
I'm trying to keep a
never.
straight face, but you have a little helper there that's fixing up your back.
Hey, sister.
He's slow. He's trying. Creedy, I
Because
see you, boy.
he knocked it over.
Trying. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the reason why that I chose him. I chose him because I wanted to help.
Hi, Mommy. I stayed around.
That's the reason.
It's what's really.
It
mine
is
was similar. I think that what narcissists do, that they get you under false pretense. I mean, mine was under the idea of like, I'm going to make you a public artist. I will show you the ropes. I'll show you the way. If I have it, you have it. All of this stuff. And then it goes back to scarcity versus mindset. At least it does for me in my example. Like how, what are your ethics? What are your morals? And all of this is easier said than done. You don't know in that moment.
Absolutely.
So now I can be a little bit more discerning when I'm dating now to
yes
realize. But I want to put it out there. So I follow Ricky.
Oh, my friend.
Is he still on, Ricky?
Ricky, yeah, he's on. That's
okay,
my
so
friend.
Ricky, I actually we've never met.
Oh, okay.
I saw him, and I'm being very, and I know he's in a relationship, so I please don't take
this
disrespectfully. Yes, he's married. So please don't take this disrespectfully, Ricky. But I saw him at a Ross, and I was like, damn, who is that?
Listen, I've known him since I was a child.
So then, I think, Ricky, you had your car wrapped or something like that. And so I was like, okay, I'm about to follow him. And then that's when I realized that he was engaged or something. He wasn't married yet. And then he was married. So, I never made a move or anything. I'm very, I'm respectful about those kind of things. And then I realized that he was actually a personal coach. So I was watching what he was, talking about. But what I would be interested in knowing is finding, so you mentioned earlier, because I didn't know this about him, that he was in a narcissistic abusive relationship. How do you,
prior to his marriage?
I would love for you to bring him on as a guest to talk about,
from the male perspective.
Open to this, I'm putting y'all on the spot, to talk about how do you get a place from being abused and hurt to a place to be discerning during dating, to then be able to decipher that this is a good person that will take care of my heart and that I won't be abused. And the reason I mention that is because what abusers do is that they create an illusion that they're your Prince Charming. Yes, baby.
Yeah.
Give me 5 seconds, okay? Mommy will get it for you. Give me 5 seconds. Okay, thank you. Hi, Creedy. You want to say hi to Zen?
Hi.
These are best friends. They do Zoom chats.
Yes, they do Zoom chats, y'all. They have conversations and play and trampoline and all that business.
So I would be, because narcissists put on an illusion to be your Prince Charmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Creedy. Yeah, say hi, Creed.
Hi.
How do you decipher that it's not an illusion and it's reality?
Ooh.
So I would be curious to hear on a male perspective from Ricky.
That's a good one, Ricky. You hear that? I'll text them afterwards.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. Like he and I've had sidebar conversations in reference to his experience. But I think it would definitely be a conversation worth having, especially on Queen Talk, for him to come and share it from King's perspective.
Yes, for sure.
I love that. So I'll make that happen, you all. You hear that? I'll have Ricky come on and be able to share that if he's open to it. I don't want to say he is. Okay? Look, Zen's laughing because y'all both are being silly. All right, so you all know we're wrapping up right now. So what's the quote or the scripture that helped you to overcome narcissistic abuse?
Okay, I'm going to.
Damn.
You
did tell me this, but this is it. This is the poem that I kept reading.
Okay.
All right, Mommy. Can Mommy read this poem, please? Okay, I'm going to read it to Creed. I am becoming the woman. Hey, Zenny. You have to let me finish reading this, okay?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, Zen, then I have to put you down, son.
No.
Okay, can you let Mommy finish?
No.
Okay, we may have to post it. It may not happen. Just a second. So, I am the woman. Hey, Zen, I don't want to school you here in front of public, but I will. Do you want a spanky? Do you want a spanky?
No.
Then let Mommy talk.
No.
Are you saying no to Mommy? because you're about to get a spanking.
Oh, mommy.
Mm-hmm.
I am becoming the woman I wanted. Gray at the temples, soft body, delighted, cracked up by life, with a laugh that's known bitter, but past it got better.
Hey.
No, she's a survivor. That whatever comes, she can outlast it. I am becoming a deep weathered basket. I am becoming the woman I've longed for, the motherly lover, with arms strong and tender, the growing daughter who blushes surprises. I am becoming full moons and sunrises. I find her becoming this woman I've wanted, who knows she'll encompass, who knows she's sufficient, knows where she's going, and travels with passion, who remembers she's precious, but knows she's not scarce, who knows she is plenty, plenty to share.
It's nice. Send that to me too. Can you
I
send
will.
it to me? I'll definitely be able to post it for them to read afterwards because I know we had distractions from the boys.
Yes, girl.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, Amy, I truly appreciate you coming on, being so transparent with your story, having this conversation. I know it will continue. Yes, part 2 for sure. There is so much more to discuss. And, you know, I'm looking forward to even Ricky joining and other people because I do have other people who have overcome and that talk about this. Because this is definitely something that just can't be discussed in an hour. But I appreciate you. You all please support Amy. If you want some of her work, go to amymalkin.com. Also on second Saturdays in Houston at the Silos, they have the opportunity to go in open studio, so you can go and shop local artists, which is phenomenal. And follow her on Instagram at Amy Malkin. Thank you, Amy, so much. I truly appreciate you. I thank you all for actually being very participatory within this conversation because I have a whole lot of stuff over here from YouTube and Facebook. Woo! Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. I truly appreciate it. And yes, there will be a part 2, so y'all definitely come back. All right. Talk to you all soon. Bye.
Bye.